This conference will now be recorded.
Yeah, and I would request you, all of you, to be on unmute. Do not use your microphone. We will have a question and answer session at the end of this presentation. So that is when you can ask your questions. So the the schedule will be like I will be presenting the entire session for this TCM framework, and then we will have a question and answer session. We'll also have a short session about, to tell you about what is AAC and what are the certifications which are being offered by AAC, and that will be taken by my senior colleague Shankar at at the end of this session. So, and we thank you for all of you for taking your time and participating in this session. This is really a overwhelming number who has joined, and we thank you all of you for that. So we'll begin with the session. So today's topic is about effective cost management. And when we hello, please be on mute.
Mr. Girish Malapala, please switch off your mic.
Hello. Yeah, thank you. Okay, so today's topic is beyond projects, effective asset management using AC's TCM framework. So we'll begin with that. Now this is about me. For all those who attended yesterday's session, they already know, but I will just run through, through this slide to give you a short information about me. My name is Girish Dhavdekar. I'm certified cost professional as well as a project management professional. I have spent more than 30 years in this field of cost engineering as well as project management, but predominantly in the oil and gas industry. And previous to that, I was also in power industry and doing industrial projects. So I have worked with the subcontractors, and then latter part of my career, when I took a semi-retirement kind of thing, I was working with ADNOC, and I have also worked with Qatar Petroleum. Since after coming back to India, I started to doing this consultancy business. Basically, I work as a facilitator or a trainer, and I take workshops in management colleges and also in industries. As I said, these are my certifications, and I'm now associated with AAC India section also to promote AAC throughout India. Now let us see what is total cost management. So total cost management is all about applying the process for the development of cost engineering. Hello, please unmute your microphone. Please mute your microphone. Sorry. So we apply the skills and knowledge of cost engineering. So it is a process, and it is basically a set of sub processes. And now you have to see that there is a typical term which we are using here is about cost engineering. Okay, are you able to view these slides?
Yeah, very much.
No.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
No.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah. So there could be a little lag. Okay. So I will keep that slide for a minute or so that all of you can view. Now this TCM was first published officially in year 2006, and the author is John Holman. Of course, there was a team of cost engineers who worked with him to get that TCM framework up to at the today's stage. but the work started almost 10 years. So there is almost a 10 years of efforts by Mr. John Holman and his team. So they earlier they used to publish these articles in the recommended practices of ACEI, and then later on they collated all these things and then published this TCM as in year 2006. Now what this TCM works actually? This TCM actually is a kind of a guideline or a structure based on which all of the ASC's products, there is all the certifications and all the recommended practices, then the skills and knowledge book, which is like similar to the book of knowledge for PMI. So all these products are based on this structure. How this structure is formed, we will see at the latter part of the presentation. It also provides, a kind of framework for the industry and the educators. Based on that, they can have their processes built. And it is basically a series of maps. When I say map, it's actually a process map, and there is a collation of this process map based on which this system is developed. Yeah.
Sir, slides are not moving, sir.
The
Slides
slide
are not
is
moving.
still on your introduction slide. If you might want to move it further.
Really? Okay. Now is it okay?
No, we are
Still
still
your
on
introduction
the
only.
introduction.
No.
Yeah, now it is moving. Total cost management
Okay,
TCM.
Yeah. Okay.
Hello.
Yeah. Is it okay?
Still
We are on
move
the
it.
slide total cost management TCM.
Yes, sir. Okay now.
The 6 bullet points.
Yeah. Okay.
Right. Thank you.
6 bullet points.
Yes, sir. Okay now. Continue.
Yeah.
Continue, sir.
Yeah. So So now I already talked about these bullet points. So maybe you can spend some time, reading that. So what I was explaining is the TCM is based on series of integrated maps, process maps, what we call about it. So there are total 27 process maps. 3 of them are the summary maps, and the 24 are the subset of those subset of those maps. So there are basically 27 processes which fall under this TCM framework. Which is, if some of you know the PMP or the PMI standard, in PMI we have 10 knowledge areas, and we have total 49 processes. Now let us not do any comparison with the PMBOK and the TCM here. I don't want to do any kind of comparison, but I'm just referring to that, to give you some idea if you already know about PMI. Okay, and all the products are basically based on the TCM framework. So I will move forward. Now this is the definition of TCM. It is very difficult to understand this this definition at the beginning itself. But I have
Slide
put
not
it
moving
at
again,
the
sir.
moment. Again, you have
Slides are not moving again.
Mr. Girish, I think we need to use talking one phone and slide moving the other one. It may work.
But actually, I'm basically doing it from the computer. I'm doing it on the computer. So, are you able to see the?
No, sir.
I think due to the lag, people are not able to see it fast because there are many people from outside countries.
Is this problem with everyone, or how many of you have this problem?
Now we
Yes,
can.
this is problem with everyone.
This problem with everybody.
Yeah.
Giri sir, I have a suggestion. So when you move the slide, you tell us, we can get back to you whether we are able to see it or not. Might have to do it that way for some time.
Okay, but
We are
right now
on
you
TCM,
can
total
see
cost
the
management.
definition slide.
The definition, yes. So the next slide,
And
when
then-
you move, you let
Yes,
us
sir.
know.
Can see the definition slide.
Okay. Otherwise, what I can do is, rather than following the presentation mode, I can go back and click every slide and then magnify it. Something like that I will do. Okay, just to avoid it. Sorry for that. Okay, so we'll go through the definition quickly. And what I will do is, when we will go through the presentation, we will again come back with the definition. So we can see that we have a better understanding of it. So I will just go through this the definition quickly. It is like the effective application of professional and technical expertise to plan and control resources, cost, profitability, and risk. So it is basically a systematic approach to manage costs throughout the life cycle of the enterprise, program, facility, or project. So what it talks about here is, TCM is all about managing resources, cost, profitability, and risk. That is how it is. So I will leave it here, and then when we finish the presentation, we will come back to the definition, so to see that we understand it, in a better way. So I'm moving to the next slide. Okay, so can you all see the new slide?
No.
It is about cost. Cost is everything.
No, sir. No, sir.
Because I went back to the presentation and then I clicked on this.
No, not yet.
Oh God.
Is there a way we can
shall I change the? Just give me a few seconds. I will come back. I think I will relog and do.
So
yeah.
can we
just be with me for 1 minute.
restart the presentation?
The presentation is
Great, sir. I would request to share the presentations. Even if the slide doesn't move, we can watch it from your computer.
I think this way.
I think without presentation mode, it is working.
Yeah.
Without presentation mode, it is working.
Sir, you can carry on in this mode.
Yeah. Now you can see that slide.
Yes, this will be fine.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
yes,
Then we'll do that this way. Okay. We'll do this way.
Okay.
And I also changed the Wi-Fi connection. So let us see. I am using the another one. Okay. So now what is cost? When we always talk about cost, the first thing which comes to everybody's mind is money. We always think about money or price for everything. But in TCM terminology, cost is not only about money. It is also about time, and it is also about resources. So when we say that we are managing cost, means actually we are managing money, which is cost. We are managing resources. We are managing time, and that is when that is how we are actually managing the profitability of the company, and then we are actually managing risk also. Now, when we say resources, I think is okay. Everybody will agree that yes, resources cost us in terms of money, because the cost estimate which we talk about is always developed based on the resources. But what is that time which comes into picture? So let me give an example that when we say time, like for the moment you are all participating in this webinar. So what else you could have been doing? If you are not participating in this webinar, you could be doing something else. You could be watching TV, or you could be spending time with your family. So, but right now you are participating in the webinar. So what is best for that? How you are spending your time, which would benefit you more, is something like TCM, look at it. So it is not only the time which is being spent by the resources when the project is being performed, but it also takes care about the time which has been spent in actually coming to that decision. So like if it is a project, the project comes into picture only when the project commences, only when the idea is conceived. But before that, there is lot of time spent by the organization thinking about that project, thinking about that viability of the project and things like that. So what TCM does actually, TCM actually looks at the entire life cycle of that asset. So I don't say a project, but I'm saying as an asset. Whenever whenever we want to build a plant, or maybe we want to build a facility, what is so the TCM looks at it as a strategic asset, and manages the whole thing. Okay, so we'll move to the next slide. I hope everybody will be able to look at it. Now it is about key concepts and terminology. Is everybody okay with it?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Sir, it is working.
Okay. It is working. Okay, fine. So we'll go proceed this way. Now let us see some of the concepts and terminology to understand what is TCM in a better way. So total cost management is all about processes and practices to manage the total life cycle of the strategic asset. When I say strategic asset, means like I gave you an example of for example, let us say we want to build a refinery, or maybe we want to build an upstream oil facility. So how the owner looks at it, as if when it is not only about the building the facility or building the plant, but the operation of that plant, the kind of revenue that facility or that plant is going to generate for the company, how that company will be benefit when all those investments which are being made to build that project will be. So basically what in the rate of return comes into picture, that when are you going to meet all those costs and start making profit, then what could be the maintenance cost attached to it. And then at a later stage, what happens is that the plant or the facility may not work to the design capacity the way you wanted it to work. It could work for a few years, and then later the performance deteriorates. So maybe you need to do some kind of modifications. Maybe you want to add some some other equipment, or maybe change the process so that you get the optimum benefit out of it. But this could also work for a few years. Then you also spend some money to get that things modified, and then a stage comes where it happens that it is no longer profitable to run that facility, or to run that plant, because you are making losses. It doesn't make sense actually to proceed further. So that is the time a decision is taken to maybe stop production, and then maybe you dismantle that facility and demolish that facility. So this is what is the total life cycle for that strategic asset. The owner looks at it. When we look at it at a project level, we are only looking of building that plant. We are not looking at any other cost. So that is the basic difference between the total cost management and the cost which we manage in terms of projects. Resource management, all of you know that it is basically managing the, you have the effective utilization of the resources. Now when we say resources, it is both ways. It is human resources as well as equipment and material. Now project management, it is application skills and knowledge and practices. So when we say project management, we are only managing that project. We are not managing any other thing. Management accounting is the function by which we are actually collecting all the financial information of whatever money we are investing and whatever revenue we are generating. What all that has been kept, which is actually should be in line with the WBS which we prepare, so that we can monitor the cost against so the apple to apple monitoring can be done. Now cost and resources, all that investment which has been made in time, money, human effort, on services, products, so all that falls under cost and resources. Strategic asset is, like I said, that the facility which you are building or the plant which you are building, so it's a physical property which is there. Enterprise, okay, enterprise, it is like a business entity, or a organization or a corporate body, things like that. process is, all of you know what is process. It is basically input and output, and then we have a mechanism which converts input into desirable output. Project, we saw yesterday what is the definition of a project. It's a temporary endeavor, to create a facility or a unique product, and which has got a start and end date. There is a definite start and end date. Operations, when we put the strategic asset into operations, so all that period when the facility or project is working, that is called then operation. Now life cycle, we just talked about the life cycle of the asset. So for project, the life cycle is whenever the project is conceived, so you go into all those stages like that initiation, planning, execution, monitoring and control, and closing. That is for the project. But for the asset, it is right from the ideation to the termination of the asset, which I explained. So we'll look at it in detail when we go to the next slides. Is this flow okay, or fast or slow? How do you feel? I mean, is this pace okay? Okay. Yeah.
It is okay, sir.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. Now let us spend some time on this triangle. Maybe some of you know the PMI triangle, which we saw yesterday, which talks about managing resources, managing schedule, and managing cost. So schedule is basically time, which we are talking also here, and the cost is basically budget. Okay. But this total, yeah, but this TCM triangle is something more than that. If you could see, we have project management, we have resource management, we have management accounting also. So what total cost management is actually doing is it is managing the entire investment of time and resources over the life cycle of that asset. So here what happens, the project management actually becomes a subset of the TCM. And while doing that, it is actually focusing on the cost objective of that investment. It is also looking at the creation of the project, and also the operation and manufacturing when the project is completed. And it also has a resource focus on the entire investment, that is in terms of material, in terms of people, in terms of time, and also the money. So, and that is why this cost engineering function comes into picture, because this is a typical term which is used by only in ACI in products, whatever skills and knowledge we have, or the RPs we use. So cost engineering is not only about cost estimation or cost control. Nothing. No, we have this cost estimation, cost control as a subset of project management function. But here cost engineering is something different. Here what it is doing, it is applying all the expertise in terms of engineering practices to manage the whole cost. So if you want to have a definition of cost engineering as per the ASEI, this is what it is, that it is an area of engineering practice where engineering judgment and experience are utilized in the application of scientific principles and techniques. So when we say techniques are all those techniques, like cost estimation, cost control, planning and scheduling, quality control, all these techniques are being used by the staff, or by the resources, so as to get the output. So by managing the cost over the entire life cycle of the strategic assets. Okay, so what is the advantage? If we apply these TCM principles, if you are an owner and if you are a contractor, how it is going to benefit you? So if you are an owner, then what will happen, that if you apply this TCM principle, all your business objective of building that asset will be accomplished. So whatever return or rate of return you have envisaged when you wanted to put that facility or project in operation, that will be achieved. And for projects, how it will benefit projects is because if it is he is a contractor, so for example, let us say he is a EPC contractor. So when he is actually executing a project, he is also making some strategic investments, like he is investing in resources, for example. Now these resources may not be with that contractor for only that project. He must be having some core number of people, or maybe core number of equipment always available with him. And so that is his strategic investment. He is making sure that all these good people around him should stay with him, so that whenever he goes to execute next project, he at least have those numbers available with him. So even if you are doing projects, this strategic investment is also looked at. Now there are two ways to look at this TCM. One is the strategic, and the other one is function. Strategic in a sense that you are always looking at your business objective. Whatever you are doing is always linked back to the strategic objective, so that the whatever advantages or whatever profits were envisaged are all achieved. And functional in a sense that all those processes which are put in place to achieve that objective. Now we will look at how this framework is organized. So it is of course a book. TCM Total Cost Management Framework is a book, and it is organized by way of we have first there are two basic processes which talks about it, which is like an introduction to total cost management, and what is strategic asset management, and what is project control. So this is what we are looking today. We will be only looking at the first two topics of this framework. Then there are functional processes for strategic asset management and project control. So if you see, there are only two major functional processes, like strategic asset management and functional and project control. And the third process is enabling process. Now, what is enabling process? Enabling processes is all other subsidiary processes which are required to complete the project, or you have to have a successful project, like quality management, HSE, information technology, and people and performance management, which we call as resource management in PMI language. And enterprise in society is where your ethics come into picture. You should be doing business in an ethical way. Now these functional processes for strategic asset management and for project control there are sub processes for each one. So that we will look into the next slide. So here we have the sub processes in little detail. So these are all organized by chapter. Like if you see the strategic asset management, the chapter 3 is for planning, then project implementation, measurement, and assessment. Now I will explain it a little better in the next slide, but this is, if you look at it, you will understand that it is related to some a kind of process which is actually PDCA. We plan, do, check, and act. So all these sub processes or the chapters are also organized in that way. So for strategic asset management, you have project implementation, cost accounting, performance assessment. Similarly for project control process. So I don't want to spend much time on this, because I just wanted to show you that this is how it is organized in TCM. So whenever you have a chance of looking at TCM, you will understand, and it is very easy to find whatever you want to look at it in the whole book. Now let us see the process maps. Let us see the TCM process maps. Okay, so as I explained, it is basically a very simple concept which TCM follows, and which is also accepted worldwide in terms of quality also, the Deming or Shewhart cycle. So it is PDCA, cycle, that is what we call. So plan, do, check, and act, and which actually gives you by which you can have a continuous improvement. So what is this PDCA? So plan means you plan asset solution or project activities, then do and execute. You actually initiate and perform that project according to the plan. And measure, that is where you are actually measuring the performance. You are not taking any action. You are just measuring the performance, and in act and assess you are comparing it with your plan, and then you are taking corrective or preventive actions. Now, unless you do these measurements, unless you have these measurements, you can't take any decisions, and unless you measure, there is no chance of any improvement. This is how it is explained in a little better way, in a graphical way, that every TCM process employs feedback and improvement. So once you have a feedback, you can improve, and all these processes are all integrated. So basically, all are linked back to your business strategy, because that is the one objective you should have always in mind when you are managing the whole strategic asset. Now let us see the life cycle. So I put the project life cycle, initially, because this is what we are mostly familiar with, how a project life cycle takes place. We talked about this in yesterday's session also. That ideation. So ideation word is not very familiar with, is not very familiar with those who are following PMP. So initiation is what we all know, but it is one and the same. So the project is initiated. In planning, we actually plan how to do it. We prepare cost estimate, we prepare schedule, we prepare a lot of procedures, and then we start executing that project. In execution, we actually execute the project, and we generate deliverables. In monitoring and forecasting, all that work process information which is generated in the execution stage, we are comparing with our initial plan or initial procedures, and we see that if everything is going right the way we wanted. If not, we introduce some corrective action, we introduce a kind of preventive action if we have some control over it. And in closure, we close the project. So when we close the project, all the deliverables which are produced, we validate those deliverables. We see that all are acceptable to the customer, and then we close project, we close contracts, and then whatever resources are employed for that particular project are released. So this is how generally a project follows, the life cycle. Now this could be applicable for a phase of the project, like in EPC, we have engineering as a phase, we have procurement as a phase, we have a construction as a phase, but more or less it is same, for project or a phase. So in case of phase, it is the closure of the phase, and we move to the next phase. For a project, it is closure of a project. Now let us see how asset life cycle looks like. Asset life cycles have 5 stages. First is the ideation. Ideation here, this is where you are actually looking for an opportunity to bring a project. So for example, if we talk about, say, oil development project, now this depends on requirement, what is the business conditions are like, what are the market condition, is there really a requirement of further oil? So that is where company try to see that whether they can produce more oil. That is one. Or secondly, there could be a depletion in their existing reservoirs, or existing plants. So that is where they start thinking about putting a new plant. So that is where the ideation thing starts, and then it evaluates. They go for the feasibility study, and then they decide whether to go for that project. Then comes the creation. That is where the asset will be constructed, the plant will be constructed. And this creation is actually the project which we talked about. So in the previous slide, what I talked about, the project life cycle, that project life cycle is applicable for only creation. So that is how the difference is between the project what we talk about and the total cost management. Then comes into picture the operation, that that service, that whatever plant we have built or whatever asset we have built, whatever facility is constructed, that is put into operation. Then after a few years, we may have to do some modifications, like we want to improve the performance, we want to modify the performance, or maybe we want to modify in the sense that the market scenario has changed, or maybe the expectations of the people have changed, so we modified that. But while doing that, always, in TCM or in strategic asset management, it is always looked at whether it is actually meeting the business objective. At no point of time the objective of profitability is lost in whatever phase of that life cycle you are. And then in termination, what happens, that is the last stage. In project we have closure, here it is termination, that we find that it is no longer viable to keep that facility running, and then the management takes a decision that let us terminate this. We use that space, land or piece or whatever for some other project. So we decommission it and then demolish it. This is the graphical representation of asset life cycle, what we just talked about. And again, this follows PDCA. So after termination, new idea comes up, and then the process continues. Now let us see the next slide. Now here, what is happening is, all throughout this ideation, all throughout this asset life cycle, the project life cycle takes place. We talked about only creation. Okay, creation is definitely that we are creating the project, so we are bringing that project life cycle into picture. But if you look at the other things also, except operation, all other stages of asset life cycle, we can actually have the project life cycle into picture. Because when we talk about modification, it could be again modifying the existing plant, or bringing installing a new equipment, or maybe creating a new facility. So again, it gets a form of a project. So again, the project life cycle comes into picture. If it is termination, we have to demolish the facility, maybe we have to transport that facility. So again, it becomes a small project. So this project life cycle comes into picture of asset life cycle in almost all stages except operation. But in some cases, even the operation also can have this project life cycle. So going back to this slide, this is what happens, that it is a cyclic process. But when I say cyclic process, it is not always coming at the same point. It is advancing. So when I say advancing, means that is what the benefit of PDCA, that you are actually doing continuous improvement, and that is how you are progressing through the project life cycle. Okay, now let us see the level 1 process map for the strategic asset management and the project control process. So both of them follow the same principle of PDCA. In strategic asset management, it is all about strategic planning, strategic asset implementation, measurement, and assessment. Similarly, in project control process, it is project planning, project control plan implementation, project performance measurement, and assessment, some of which I have already explained. But if you look at it, this slide, look at this strategic asset project implementation. So when this strategic asset process comes into implementation, it takes a form of project. It takes a form of project, and then the project control process comes into picture. That is where the project is planned, then the execution happens. Then we see all those processes of initiation, then planning, execution, monitoring and control, and closure comes into picture. Once that is closed, then maybe there is some other project which is coming up when we move to the strategic asset management life cycle. So this is how it takes place. So if you see, the project control process is actually a subset of strategic asset management process. So whatever we talk about project management is actually a one part of the total cost management framework. So this is actually the crust of the TCM, which we have to remember. Now let us talk about the PDCA steps, which are part of the strategic asset management process life cycle. First is the strategic asset planning, where it converts the asset improvement ideas into plans, and this is where actually the decision is taken, the investment decisions are taken whether to go for that asset or not, which happens here in the planning. In project implementation, as I explained, that it forms a part of the project and it is given to the project team. Project team goes and they implement that plan and build that facility. Now it goes to the, so performance measurement takes place both ways. Now when that project is getting implemented, the project has its own monitoring and controlling measures, but at the same time the strategic asset performance management team is also assessing whether that project performance is as the way they wanted, because it works two ways. It is measuring the performance when the project is under construction, as well as it will measure the performance when the project goes for the operation. So both these things are taken care by the strategic asset performance measurement and also the performance assessment. It is the same like monitoring and control in project phase. Now, project control process cycle, I think majority of us, we are familiar with that. We plan the project, that project requirements are converted into plans. We plan the schedule, we plan the, we prepare the cost estimate, we prepare the budget, then we, we bring all those quality control procedures into place, how we are going to check the deliverables. So all these things are done in project planning. We have the cost baseline, schedule baseline, and also the scope baseline in project planning. In implementation, we execute the project. The team is set, project team is given all the authorities to go and deliver at site and build that plant or facility. And then the monitoring and controlling is done, that if we want to check that whether we are meeting the cost baseline, we are meeting the scope baseline and the schedule baseline. If it is not happening, then we take the preventive and corrective actions. So this is about the project control. Okay, now let us see what are the inputs for these processes. First is, of course, the investment of cost or resources. So which is time, money, human resources, physical resources. When we say physical resources, means equipment, material, or maybe some facilities required, things like that. Now the other input is what is the strategy objective? That has to be clear right from the inception of these things. So that has to be clear. And of course the working environment consideration. So what are the constraints are there? Geographical things, or maybe political, or maybe some other things. Now, what is the output of that process? So first thing is, we have a asset portfolio, that whatever asset is being, whatever asset was planned, whether that particular thing is being achieved or not. So all those performance objectives and requirements are, are delivered. And similarly, similar case for the project portfolio also. So whatever input and output is there for both, it is for the asset management as well as for the project control process. So this is what it is. What is strategic asset management? So it is the macro process of managing the total life cycle cost investment of resources in the enterprise's portfolio or strategic asset. And project control is basically for the investment and resource in an asset. So it is project control is related to only the going through the project life cycle, whereas strategic asset management is for the entire management of the life cycle of that asset. So I wanted to cover as much as possible. We will not go into further details of strategic asset management and project control processes, because we may not be having we are not having that kind of time, because we have some enabling process also to look at it. So here now we go back to the definition which we saw in the beginning. So now, after going through this presentation, And then if you read this definition, then I think it will make some sense. Earlier when you read in the beginning of the session, it may not be that clear. But if you now go through this definition, maybe it will make some sense. So what it says that is the effective application of professional and technical expertise to plan and control resources, cost, profitability, and risk. So we need to remember here that TCM is all about managing resources, cost, profitability, and risk. That's the simple thing. And then it has a systematic approach to managing that cost throughout the life cycle of the that asset, that strategic asset. So that is why the business objective is always maintained. Okay, so I'll just take a minute here. You can go through, and then otherwise we'll go to the last part of this presentation, that is enabling processes. Okay, I will move to the enabling processes. So what are enabling processes? That is, these are the third summary process which you talked about. One was the strategic asset management, the second one was project control, and the last one is enabling processes. And then there is a subset of other processes under enabling processes. So first is the enterprise in society, that is where you are maintaining the we are following the ethics of the business. So all that comes under this enterprise in society. Second is people and performance management. So this is where the resource management comes into picture. Resource management, then the leadership qualities, leadership management, the project management qualities, and all those things comes under the people and performance management, because as you see, the construction is mainly dependent on the resources, and that too human resources. So unless we manage them, we will not be able to attain the desired output. So managing those human resources is very important. And then all those theories, of human behavior and all that all comes under this people and performance management. Information management plays a very big role, because all those management reporting and everything, in the current scenario, everything is dependent on information. All types of communications, all types of managing data, producing reports, accounting. So then also the softwares which we use for planning and scheduling, or even for the cost estimates. So that all comes under the information management. Quality is very important, because we see that in PMI triangle, it is not only about the resources, cost, and time, but it is the quality also, because whatever product we are manufacturing, or whatever facility we are building, has to meet the quality objective. Otherwise, it will not work. We have to maintain that whatever performance criteria which was there as a part of our business objective. Now the next is the value management and value improving, because there is always a scope for improvement. That is where we talked about the PDCA model. So this value management and value improving practices are basically the value engineering and value analysis, which we know in project management. So those are covered under this chapter. And HSE, which is of prime importance for any kind of project. And we always say that at site that safety comes first. So definitely, even though it is the last process in this slide, but definitely everything starts with HSE for this kind of projects. So these are the enabling processes which are more or less the professionals are familiar with. So those are covered as part of the enabling process. Now there are some other recommended guides also which are read with this TCM framework. Basically, the TCM actually forms the basis of most of the ASE's products, like the cost and engineering is kind of book of knowledge. And then the recommended practice are called RPs, and there are also the professional guides which are available. So we call it as a PPGs. So those also form of the basis for this TCM. So this is what I wanted to convey in a very short time. TCM framework is a very big subject. It's a very big book. If you really want to go into detail, it takes almost a day or two, for the total workshop. But I think I will stop here, and then I will request Shankar to take forward. And I don't know whether Shankar, will we have a question and answer session now, or at the end of the session? Shankar, can you hear me? Hello?
Shankar is not audible.
Uh-huh.
So he's not audible. He's typing message. But I think we have still, Girish, we have about 5-6 minutes left.
So
maybe we can take a few questions, right?
Yeah, okay. Because I think there was some information we wanted to give about AAC also. So
okay.
So I'll,
till Shankar comes back, we can probably take questions.
Okay. So meanwhile, we will open this session for. So I will take a few questions. So please proceed with your questions.
Hello.
Yes.
Hello. Yes, sir. This is Vamsi
please.
here. Yesterday we spoke in details. Sir, I just have it's not a proper question yet, but I just needed to know, as we discussed on TCM, can you refer any sort of books? Actually, this was more informative as well. But at the same time, if you want to go into some deep study, are there any sort of books we should refer? Any sort of authors that have written this book?
No. Yeah. Okay. Good question. The TCM itself is a book. The Total Cost Management Framework itself is a book which is available, as a part of AAC's publications. So once you become a member, actually, if I'm not wrong, it is available free. So
okay.
Yeah. So that is what I said. It is about 400 page, 350, 400 page pages of book. And then there you have all the details.
Okay.
So that you can download if you become a member. If you can easily download and go through that. So once once you go through that, then all other products like skills and knowledge of cost engineering and the professional guides, and the preparation, the certification books, it will be easy for you to understand.
Sure, sir. Sure. Thank you, sir.
Yeah. Okay.
Hi, sir.
Okay, thank you.
This is Kripal Reddy.
Okay.
Hi, sir.
Yes,
I'm basically an engineering consultant with 10 years of experience. Sir, I really appreciate your efforts and thanks for this presentation. It's very informative for me. Sir, one point I would, it would be beneficial for others also. Engineering decisions or engineering prior to establishing a project, when we say a process is defined, or when for a construction or a brownfield modification, the role of engineering towards the cost. I mean, if you do a proper engineering, how the cost looks like. If you do a bad engineering, how the cost look like, or at the advanced stage of a construction, if our engineering decisions are wrong, the construction cost is impact is very high. Such kind of a simulation study or a slide would really help all others also. Even for me also, it will be an informative, because my thought process is more of an engineering person. My construction stuff is bit less. So if we do a bad engineering, how the cost affects, that also, if you can add up in a slide, that will really help us to know your experience and real time.
Yeah. Okay. But I will just answer it, in a brief. That if you saw those enabling processes, there you had this value improvement and those things. So I touched upon the value analysis subject, value engineering and value analysis. So as you are yourself a design engineer, these are the processes which anyway takes place, even if it is a project, even in the project life cycle. We see this, we go through this value analysis and value engineering to see that whether whatever engineering we are doing is there any way to save the cost. And when we are trying to save the cost, we are also want to see that we are not jeopardizing the performance which we wanted to get by creating that facility. So these two things are also covered in as a part of TCM.
Okay.
Understand? Yeah.
Thanks, sir. Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Any further question?
Just one question, sir, is that I am a member of AAC also, and I'm a member of AAC Indian section also. So I can download this from the website, these PPT.
Correct. No, PPT is my product. I have
Okay.
prepared the PPT. Yeah. But this TCM, as I said, this TCM framework is you can download. So most of many things are from that framework only. So you can download that.
Right.
I don't think there is any PPT available there.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Okay.
Sir,
Thank you.
can I add one point, dear Girish?
Yeah.
The members can also enjoy the virtual TCM. Virtual TCM, where you can click in one link, it will take to the next processes. It will drill down to the next processes. So you don't need to turn the pages. Most of the processes you can click the link. It will take you to the next one. It is called. It is free for the members. Virtual TCM.
Okay. Thank you, Philip. Okay. So Shankar, are you able to connect?
Hello.
Yeah.
Hello, sir. Hi, Tariq here. I have a question. What are the difference between a project manager and a project controller in a project, and what are the limitations of project controller? Are they both same, or
hello? I'm not able to.
Question. Hello.
Can you repeat your question?
Am I audible to you?
No, it was not audible properly.
Hello. Now can you hear me, sir? Yeah. Sir, I wanted to know the difference between the project manager and a project controller. And what are the limitations of project controller? Hello. Hello.
Yeah.
Hello.
What are the limitations of project controller?
Girish sir, his question is
yes, please go ahead.
What is the difference between project manager and project controller, and what are the limitations of a project controller?
Thanks. Thank you.
Okay. But I got your question, but I'm not. I did not understand it clearly. But what I feel is that, do you feel that sometimes the project controllers are put, they have some kind of restriction? Because I myself have been in this profession, for at least 10-12 years as a project controller, and I feel that project controller is the only person, who can go to any extent, in order to see that the project is going in the right direction, because everything depends on him. He is kind of a, he's kind of a navigator. He is actually giving all the information, all the data to the pilot, which is project manager. So that is his job. So in my view, project controller actually should not have any kind of restriction. He can excel to his capability. Yeah, that is what I feel.
Can you hear me now? I think I had a problem with my I had a problem with my mic in the computer, so I'm just joining over my phone. Right. I mean,
yeah.
So I'll just quickly, take, all of you through an introduction to AACE. Right. I mean, we should have started the today's session with that, but because of the problem with my, mic, I asked Girish to start the, his session. But in one way, it's good. I think, now whomsoever is here, who are all new to AAC, there are quite a few AAC veterans are here, like Philip and all. And, the guys who are new to AAC, I thought I just will introduce what is the AAC and what it is and what it is not. Right. So I'm the regional director for the region which is under Asia Pacific. Right. I work for a group called Carla Infra Private Limited. I mean, we are all volunteers and we have our full-time job. And, our association with the AAC is purely on as a professional body. As a volunteer, we associate with that. Now, yeah. So AAC is known for an association for advancement of cost engineering international. And it's got 7,000 members in around 1,000 countries, and it's a very, very niche body, right? And the mission of AAC, if you look at it, the mission of the AAC, which is here, which I will not read it. It is available on the website, and you can also, visit the AAC's website to understand more about AAC International. So it's got, as I told you, it's got about, its presence is in 100 countries, and it has got about 7,000 members as of now. Yeah. So if you look at the sort of members, who are with the AACE, right? I mean, mostly, the people from the construction industry, oil and gas, consulting, power generation, government, and, minerals and mining. Most of the capital project, large capital projects, organizations and professionals who are in the capital projects industry are attached to, are the volunteers, members of the AACE. And, if you look at it in terms of the job function, it's about project controls, project management, planning, scheduling, cost estimation, cost engineering, and client disputes are all the, people working in having this job function or, as part of AACE. And AAC, as our Girish has mentioned, has got an, it's a body of knowledge. It's a total cost management framework, or a TCM framework, which is the Bible of AACE. And it has also got quite a few recommended practices, which are very, very useful practical guides. They are not any academic, they are not a mere academic books. And many companies, even including my own company where I'm working now, we have based our entire or aligned our entire process, benchmarking TCM as well as the RPs, the recommended practices of AACE. So, yeah. So AACE has got an, also it's got a certification program which certifies the professionals, and which is a there are 3 levels of certification in AACE. One is a technician level certification, and a professional level certification, and an expertise level certification. Technician level certification for early career professionals, and an experienced for a professional level certification for an experienced practitioners, and expertise level certification for the senior level practitioners. So for the technician level certification, there are 2. One is a certified cost technician, they call it as a CCT, and certified scheduling technicians, which is CST. There are 4 professional level certifications: a certified cost professional, and a certified estimating professional, and end value professional, and a planning and scheduling professional. And there are 2 expertise level certifications: certified forensic claim consultant and decision and risk management consultant. Yeah. So, yeah. So CCT, if you look at it, is basically for the guys with that, with or without an experience, I mean, what is the minimum requirement for to take a CCT is about 4 years of an industry related experience, or at least 4 years of an industry related degree. Even a fresh graduate from a college can take a CCT or CST. And yeah, CCP is the star certification of AAC International, and it's yeah, and it's considered to be, I think, one of the toughest certification in a project management domain. And CCP is basically you should have an 8 years of an industry related experience, or an 4 years of an experience plus 4 years of an industry related degree. And STCP, as you see here, is an experienced practitioner with an advanced knowledge and technical expertise to apply broad principles and best practices of TCM in planning, execution, and management of any organization or program. And the other certifications like a CEP, Certified Estimating Professional, and EVP, Earned Value Professional, and a PSP is a Planning Scheduling Professional. And I would request, those who are interested to visit the AACE's website to know more about the professional level certification. And AAC has got 2 expertise level certification, and first is was a CFCC, Certified Forensic Claim Consultant. And if you look at the web, it is one of the first or the second most toughest certification is an CFCC in the PM domain, is what I understand from the web. I mean, it's based on what is the information available in the public domain. And in the minimum requirement itself, if you look at it, as a 12 years of an industry related experience, and 4 years of a college degree, and any one professional level certification is a must to be to become a CFCC. And the next is a DRMP, is a Decision and Risk Management Professional. It's a second expertise level certification of AACE. And here the also the requirements, if you look at it, is about an 8 years of an experience, and also and a letter of recommendation from the industries, 3 or 4 recommendation from the industries required to appear for the to qualify to appear for the certification. So the difference between many other professional bodies also give a certification, and the interesting part of an AAC certification is the guy, to take a professional and an expertise level certification, you need to be a practitioner, to take this, to take a certification. And it's not mere reading some, books or only how to answer a question alone will not be able to get an, to get you a certification, an AAC certification. And the best part of it, even if you are clearing your certification, then you are, the way you look at, or your, your regular work on your, it goes up by an, by a multiple notch. And the certifications are valid for 4 years. For a technician level certifications are for 3 or 4 years, and all other professional and expertise level certifications are valid for 3 years. And you can either take it through a re-examination or through an accumulation of the CEUs. And all the AAC certifications, or these 4 certifications, are accredited by CESB. And also AAC has got a rising professional committee, and this is to help the rising professionals. And so it has also got a magazine called Source, which is free for everybody, and also it's got a journal called the Cost Engineering Journal. And there are quite a few the guys from India also been in the spotlight of as an rising professionals in the AAC's shows magazine. And yeah, here is a Purushottam Srinath. He'll be taking one session for all of you, 1 or 2 sessions for all of you. Yeah. So what is there for an in AAC for the guys who are in the managerial level, yes, you can, you can benchmark AAC's practices and RPs to develop the framework for your entire organization. And also when we are associating with the AACE also gives you a good amount, networking with your not only the local section, also if you look at it in this case internationally, and there are quite a few guys who are attending the sessions are all from all the part of the world. There are guys from South America, there are guys from Middle East, there are guys from Africa, and of course India, in India, and also from Far East. So as a community, it's very, very globally connected. It's not like in you are connected only to your regions. You are connected. Regional section also to the entire the professionals across the world. And also for an as an individual, whether you are an young professional or you are an experienced professional, your the certifications can boost your career and also help you to get associated with the professionals or like-minded professionals in the across the world, right? And also those who are interested can become a member of AACE and also can become a volunteer for AACE, and you can also hold leadership positions in the local sections. And the section contacts, are Shivakumar is the president of AACE India section, and this is his contact. I'll be sharing the presentation with all of you. And Varghese Daniel is a VP marketing, and Bhagya Nair, who is a secretary of India section, and Nambiappan, who is a treasurer of India section. And for the training and development is handled by Ramapriya Valmiki and Girish. And of course, I am the regional director of Region 8, and these are all, you have the contacts of all of us. You can reach out to any one of us who are willing to, support you. And yeah, quickly to my role as an RD, it's to create an partnership with the education institutions. And first is about raising the awareness of an AACE, in the professional community, and also we are closely working with many educational institutions, and so that we catch guys at when they are young. Some of the surveys says many of the young industry, the professionals coming out of college are not employable, which is a it's a big concern. So that's one of the reasons to offer such programs at no cost to the young engineers who are coming out of college or are studying in the college, right? That's the main reason the outreach of an AACE India section, and we didn't restrict it only to India, and we have opened it for the the complete globe. And there are memberships. As a student, you can take a student membership, and then you will have an access to all his body of knowledge, the TCM framework and all the recommended practices. And there is a regular membership, and also there is a membership for public partner. There's for public institutions, and both for engineering, for the colleges as well as for the public sectors. And also a corporate member program is available, where there is 10 licenses will be given to a corporate. And also there is the corporate partner program offered by AACE. And if you visit the AACE's website, you will know more about the AACE and the AACE's certificate, about a certification, and about its all the resources which are available. All right. And with that, I thank all of you. Right. If there is any question, you can ask now, or you can even send your questions to through the survey, whatever we are sending after the session. Thank you. And thanks, Girish, for taking this session.
Yeah. Thank you, Shankar. Thank you.
Yeah. If there are no questions, I think we will close the meeting. Close the webinar. Sorry, it's not a meeting, webinar.
Okay.
Yeah, I think we will close the webinar. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. This is going
Thank you,
really
sir.
great. Thank you, sir.